When the NASCAR Craftsman Super Trucks went to Martinsville, Virginia, Ernie Irvan was the headline story. Climbed back in the truck, eager to race after a 13-month injury layoff, but rain washed out his chance to do that. He and his legions of fans had to wait another week, but we didn't have to wait for a thrilling finish. The series leader, Mike Skinner, into the race leader, Jeff Bodine. Joe Ruttman shoots through the gap and claims his second victory and stays in contention for the championship as the series comes to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina for the Lowe's 150 here on ESPN2. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain. It is official. Ernie Irvan is back in racing. He put that pirate patch over his left eye, went out and qualified second in the truck, seventh in the Winston Cup car, and he is laps ahead of anybody else here in terms of interviews granted this weekend. It has truly been a heartwarming return for a tremendous individual and heroic effort. He's got one interview left in him. Let's go to the man who will cover pit road today, Marty Reed.
One of the questions we've all been asked is, how does Ernie Irvan make up for the loss of his left eye, the double vision that he's still suffering? This little mirror, which is inside, is an option that every driver has to him. Ernie's taken advantage of it. It helps him with that left eye. I got to tell you, you made a believer out of me really quick. I mean, second on today's row in the Super Truck race. Tomorrow, you're going to be seventh. I think you got a bunch of fans. Even the Dale Earnhardt fans are cheering you.
Yeah, I tell you, the fans have been real supportive of this, and it's something that has kept us going. Me and my wife. It's been tough to be able to not be Winston Cup racing and be able to come back and have this much support. And hopefully. Nobody expects a whole lot out of us, and we're just going to go out and do the best job we can. And Napa and United, they're sticking behind us, and it's going to be fun.
You're just going to go for it? How much nerves? How many butterflies?
None yet. But, when they throw the green flag, there may be a few. But if you got any butterflies against Skinner, shoot, you're going to get beat. So I plan on beating him.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last time that a one-eye patch was popular was about, the 1500s, a guy by the name of Blackbeard and the Jolly Roger. He wins today. It could become a fashion trend.
All right, thank you, Marty, and congratulations, Ernie. Benny Parsons analyzes the trucks for us here on ESPN2. Heartwarming, heroic, all the adjectives fit. And yet we have to remember that as popular as this return is, he's not able to upstage the guys that are the series regulars. What a show they keep putting on.
It's unbelievable. Just what a show that the trucks put on last week at Martinsville. You thought, hey, that's a great show. Folks, it's happened all year long, and I really enjoyed doing these trucks. This is the last one we're going to get to do, and I look forward to seeing the rest of them on the... But let's look at some of these finishes we've had this year. Take a look at this. In Phoenix, 0.09 of a second. Tucson, half a second. Big I-70, a whole second. The race we did in Louisville, half a second. Bristol, just 0.13. And look at Colorado, 1/10,000th of a second. And Martinsville, it's 1 second margin of victory. But how can we forget about that finish when the two leaders crashed coming off turn 4 for the checkered flag?
You can count on an exciting last lap, and we have been delivered a pretty impressive battle for the championship. Look at this. Ruttman just 41 points behind Skinner, and talk about being upstaged. That is in the truck that Ernie Irvan owns, and so Ruttman, the winner last week, had to do everything he could to get back into the middle of the spotlight, and what it's done is put him in terrific position to perhaps pull out this championship. We will be back with the Lowe's 150. It's going to be a thriller here at North Wilkesboro North Motor Speedway. And we'll go to break with a look at Ernie's daughter occupying the cockpit. Hello, Jordan. We'll be right back.
How far have Goodyear retailers lowered prices on America's #1 brand?
No! Lower! Hey, guys! Keep going! Lower! Lower! Lower!
Everyday low prices on America's #1 brand, with quality Goodyear tires starting at $19.99, and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
Your car's engine was made for the open road, but that's not where it is day in and day out. Stop-and-go driving can kill an engine by creating deposits and wear that rob performance and shorten engine life. That's why you need the added protection of TM8, a new engine treatment from Valvoline. TM8 coats moving parts with 8 friction-fighting ingredients, including Teflon. So no matter where you are, your engine will run just like it's on the open road. TM8 from Valvoline, because driving is more stop than go.
In South Dallas, a lot of folks like to work on their cars, and a lot of them come to AutoZone. They save money on top quality parts, and they find helpful people like Rocky Brown. Oh, sure, there are other parts stores in town, but Rocky's the kind of guy folks go out of their way to see. He's good at solving problems, and he really knows his parts. You see, when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
This is the new Champion Truck Plug, specially built for engines that get put to the test. We increase the spark area to last longer under the stress of hard work or hard play. And this unique copper core gets rid of heat quickly for a long life. Guaranteed 3 years. Champion Truck Plug, built like a truck.
The engines have fired at North Wilkesboro. The trucks are rolling. The Lowe's 150 is brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 1-800-71-NASCAR. NASCAR excitement here today with the trucks. Let's take a look at how they'll line up. For the 10th time this year, Mike Skinner has earned the pole. And alongside the comeback story of 95, Ernie Irvan.
We'll look back in row 2, and we find Darrell Waltrip, ODW, 3rd, and Butch Miller. Great qualifying run for Butch in 4th spot.
Ken Schrader starts 5th in the number 52 truck, and then his Winston Cup lookalike, Jack Sprague, in the 25 Budweiser car.
Row 4, Jeff Bodine, who ran so well at Martinsville, and Kenny Wallace in the Red Dog truck.
Todd Bodine did not make the Winston Cup show. He'll try to make up for it here in the truck race, starting alongside Mike Chase.
Ron Hornaday and Jimmy Hensley in row 6. Hornaday will go to the rear. We'll talk about that later.
Mike Bliss has a new crew chief that we'll also discuss. He starts alongside the road racer Scott Lagasse.
Row 8, Rodney Combs Jr. and Dennis Setzer.
Joe Ruttman did not qualify very well for a guy contending for the championship. He starts inside row 9, Rick Corelli alongside.
And in row 10, Toby Butler and Bill Sedgwick, a couple of regulars.
A lot of good guys had trouble qualifying here. John Nemechek and Ernest Winslow will make up row 11.
Rodney Combs Sr. and Dirk Stevens in row 12.
Mike Wallace will start alongside Michael Dokken in row 13.
And in row 14, Sammy Swindell and Gary Lloyd.
Checking out the provisional starters here today. Again, some of the series regulars, big names, Bob Strait, Steve Portengay in row 15.
And the last row, Bob Keselowski and Walker Evans.
Tough place to qualify. North Wilkesboro, 5/8 of a mile. A little bit of a downhill slope to the front straightaway, uphill on the backstretch. They'll do 150 laps here today. Full speed at 116 and change, $156,000 on the line. And, Benny, this is a tough place to get into the show in good form. Tough place to qualify, and an even tougher place maybe to race.
Let's take a look at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. 5/8 of a mile. The front stretch, 670 feet. The back stretch, 670. The corners are banked 14 degrees. The straightaways banked 3 degrees. But the story at North Wilkesboro, those trucks are going uphill. Down the back straightaway, in the front straightaway, they will go downhill about 5-6 degrees.
Here are all the drivers who are number of trucks that went home, and some of the big names. Look at Benson and Little, contenders for the Busch Grand National title. Neither of them made it here today. Benson broke an axle in his qualifying run. Kenji Momota was out to become the first Japanese NASCAR driver here today. Didn't make it. McEachern goes home. Brevac goes home. Some good guys going home here this afternoon.
And we see that the couple of more laps before the green flag. Now we see Ron Hornaday. Let me tell you the story about Hornaday. This morning, some of the race day crew came in. Hornaday took the Papa John's truck out to practice. They stuck on a set of tires. The race day helped put on the set of tires. He goes out and makes a long run, about 40 laps. They discovered that he's practiced on his qualifying tires. And you must start the race on the tires you qualify. So what NASCAR did was allow him a Winston Cup car. Dave Marcus scuffed him 4 tires. But he will have to start at the back of the field because of changing tires from his qualifying.
We're on board here with Mike Bliss, one of our 3 in-truck cameras here today. And this is Joe Ruttman's view from 17th starting spot, a long way to the front where the point leader, Mike Skinner, is sitting on the pole. Here is the view that Ernie Irvan will have as he sees the green flag for the first time in some 13 months. Skinner alongside, warm in the tires, 32 trucks made up of 16 Chevys, 13 Fords, and 3 Dodges, and North Wilkesboro is about 2/3 full, I'd say. Big crowd.
And we can see, this is something we don't see too much, a Dodge pace truck.
We're bringing the field around here with the lights off. I think we're getting close to a start, right?
Yes, half lap to go, and we'll see what Ernie Irvan and Mike Skinner can do down in turn 1. This is exciting time, Dave. Ernie Irvan, after 13 months, back in competition in just a matter of seconds.
The fans all on their feet welcoming Ernie back to the racing world. But for Skinner, there's a race and a championship to win. He will not cut Ernie any slack. They touch fenders before the start just to let us know what's coming. And the charge is on to turn 1, and Ernie gets a fender and then a truck line down in front of Skinner. Skinner now coming back up the inside, and the two break away quickly from the second place battle between Walter on the inside. Ernie's not going to give up.
He just won't back off, will he? But now it's Skinner clearly in the lead.
So Ernie makes the early run, and pole sitter Mike Skinner then settles in behind. Butch Miller is going backwards. He's caught up on the outside. Back to 5th.
And here comes Schrader on the inside. Now Butch will back off. He can't back off because there's Bodine. He has no choice but hit the accelerator, not the one in the middle.
Bodine has his brother Todd in tow. And from Ruttman's view, well, there's a traffic jam ahead. Better be careful trying to get through there. That's Combs, Rodney Combs Sr., directly in front of Joe Ruttman, who needs to be patient, I would think, in the early laps.
He's certainly trying to win a championship, and patience is how championships are won.
41 points is the gap. In terms of the championship, that's the deficit that Ruttman needs to make up on Skinner. Ernie working on the leader. Speculation, of course, is how well he'll be able to cope with the traffic. Here's his view. Only one truck to deal with right now, but it's a tough second view.
And we can see he's taking a look on the inside.
He's got a notion. Ernie has tested very well. In fact, all of his test sessions in the truck, the Busch Grand National car, and the Cup car have, by all accounts, gone very well. But no traffic out there when you're testing. Here's a great battle. Schrader on the inside of his Winston Cup counterpart, Bodine.
And Ernie Irvan is taking a lead, and look at the people. They're going nuts.
How about Ernie? Boy, I'll tell you what.
Oh, and Hornaday has fun.
Trying to get from the back to the front. Ron Hornaday, third in points, loops the truck, now comes around in front of the field. The yellow will fly for Hornaday, who has really been troubled the last 3 outings in the truck owned by Dale and Teresa Earnhardt. He was in championship contention until Richmond. Let's go back and take a look at the big moment for Ernie Irvan as he goes around Skinner.
Turn 3, Skinner goes up the hill just a little bit. Ernie gets on the inside. Man, don't you know, he was excited when he goes down in 1 and says, there ain't nothing in front of me.
He has said throughout that he's not a very emotional guy, that he's just taking this in stride, treating it like another weekend at the racetrack, but you have to believe that inside that helmet, that was a special moment.
There we see Kim and Jordan checking everything out. There's Linda McReynolds, Larry's wife, talking to her.
The entire Yates organization, of course, has rallied around Ernie Irvan, beginning with the moment of the horrible crash in Michigan that left him so badly injured, and now culminating today as Ernie Irvan returns to the racetrack to lead the Lowe's 150 on ESPN2. What a story. We'll be right back. Showing the way, we're back at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Going back to green after the yellow for Ron Hornaday. Skinner will now set his sights on Ernie Irvan. The rear deck is up into third. Goes Jack Sprague.
And Sprague closes up and looks on the inside of Skinner. Here comes Sprague.
Clean pass. Skinner perhaps not behaving as well in terms of truck handling as he was in qualifying. And in front of love that shot.
That's tough race to 4th place.
That's Bodine showing the way in number 7. He of all the excitement in the last couple of races. And then come a gaggle of Winston Cup guys chasing him. 52, Kenny Schrader. 61, Todd Bodine. Darrell Waltrip going backwards into 17. Then there's Butch Miller. Miller 4th in the points, down on the inside of Waltrip, whose truck isn't behaving very well either, is it?
And Skinner's falling back to 3rd place and continues to lose positions. Marty Reed, what's going on with Skinner?
Well, I talked to the crew, and Rich Burgess and the gang says everything's okay. And I did talk with Mike before the race, Benny, and he said that last weekend's debacle really hurt them. 41 points is too close for their comfort. They are consciously racing Joe Ruttman at this point. He said if he felt any pressure and that he had to push the truck, he would give up the position. He's concentrating on the championship.
That's one thing I like about this team and these guys. They tell you the truth. They don't give you that political answer. When Skinner crashed the truck earlier in the season, he came out and said, hey, I screwed up. And now he says, hey, I'm racing for points. I'm racing Ruttman. I admire that.
And let's see, here's Jeff Bodine and Skinner. Remember the last time we saw these two trucks together? Didn't work out too well. But this time it does.
Skinner is not going to do anything to offend Jeff Bodine at this point, I would think, given that strategy we just discussed. Bodine will provide a take third, drop Skinner to fourth, and Schrader will be next in line. Skinner doesn't want to fool around too much. You don't want to get clear out of you with it. Look at this. Sprague's going after Ernie Irvin.
And Sprague has caught up with Ernie Irvin, the Budweiser truck, right on the back bumper of Ernie.
There have been questions about Ernie's ability to run in traffic. Right there. He had to deal with the traffic very much. This is like a test session. Get out there and run by yourself. In the lead.
In the lead, that's right. Right now, we see Sprague. He's right on the back bumper of Ernie. This will be the test when he pulls down to the inside trying to get position. But Ernie has two spotters today. His dad is looking in front of him, and another spotter is following the traffic around Ernie Irvin. So this is the switch. Most cars use one spotter. Ernie, in fact, has two.
In case you've just returned from outer space and haven't heard the news, Ernie, of course, has double vision as a result of the head injury that he suffered at Michigan. His left eye does not yet function correctly. He has double vision, and so he covers the left eye with a patch and, in fact, races with one eye. So peripheral vision off the left side of the truck is a big concern, and Sprague is perhaps trying to take advantage of that blind spot, although Ernie's doing a good job of covering it.
And we see that Jeff Bodine is closing up on his lead, too. There we see Scott Lagsty and Darrell Walter, and behind them is Dennis Setzer and Toby Butler. And Darrell is just having a lot of trouble with that Western Auto truck.
Boy, everybody's going by. That truck was qualified fourth, but Darrell hadn't been able to hang on to anything. There goes Toby Butler by on the bottom, and John Nemechek will be back, be next, along with Pirelli. Darrell's definitely struggling. Ernie runs her in deep, and then Sprague comes right up to challenge. Let him know he's there.
Sprague has to be a little bit careful because I don't think it would be a good idea to hit Ernie Irvin the first race back. Do you?
I wouldn't give him a truck like that if it was me, but Sprague's a racer. He's getting up there letting him know he's there. He wants to try to force a mistake, see what Ernie's made of. You know, this guy's been out 13 months. Ought to be an easy mark. Ought to be able to just drive right by this guy. He's all out of practice.
And as I said at Richmond, Jack Sprague would like to drive this truck next year in 1996. I don't think the driver has been selected, and obviously Jack Sprague would like for it to be him. If he could pass Ernie, take the lead, and win this race,
get the owner's attention.
It would certainly get Rick Hendrick's attention.
And so the battle continues up front, and it continues a big ways in front of the rest of the field as Ernie Irvin, in his return to competition, has pulled away and taken Jack Sprague with him. Bodine, though, has broken loose and is now running third and gaining. Here's the battle. This is the best race for position, and this would be for sixth, with Kenny Schrader showing the way to Mike Bliss for the moment, and Kenny Wallace turning in another great run.
And the crew chief for Mike Bliss in 1996 will be Barry Dodson. And Dodson is up there with him this week, and we can see that Bliss has pulled up on the inside of Schrader, trying to take that position away.
And I'd be tempted to give it to him if he gets a fender in front with the inside preferred line here at North Wilkesboro. Mike Bliss is going to be a great stock car racer in my estimation, having seen him on Thunder here on ESPN come up through the open wheel ranks a la Jeff Gordon. And now with the experience of Barry Dodson, he's going to have a great guy to learn from because Dodson knows a lot about this business. Dodson working for him today, will not go to the West Coast with him, but will come back next year as the full season crew chief on the truck in which you are riding right now.
Truck is owned by Jim Smith out of California. Want to move into a shop down in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yes, that's the same Jim Smith that won the Baja 500 last year.
And we see Butch Miller going by the 3 truck of Mike Skinner taking that spot away.
This is the first time since, I don't remember when, that we've seen Skinner go backward this way. He has now slipped to 6th in the running order. And here is a move for the lead. Sprague goes to the inside, the blind side on Ernie Irvin, and drives by to take the lead, and I don't think he touched it. And meanwhile, Bodine is right there. Ernie wants to retaliate, looking to the inside as they come back to 3. Good race. Bodine there to make it a 3-truck battle and close it on the traffic. This is going to get fun in a hurry.
Here comes Ernie again, only looking on the inside, Bodine on the outside.
Now, the other thing that has been questioned is Ernie's depth perception. Racing with one eye. He certainly didn't have any trouble figuring out where that nose was right then. Problem he's got now is Bodine. He's coming by on the inside. Drops Irvin to 3rd as they catch the traffic.
And some heavy traffic in front of these trucks.
Here's Ernie's view of the dilemma. He has Bodine immediately in front of him. Sprague in front of Bodine, and then a gaggle of about to be lapped trucks. Early running of the Lowe's 150, North Wilkesboro, the 5/8 mile oval in what some call God's country here in North Carolina. They're around Walker Evans on the outside, now trying to move their way past Rodney Combs Jr. They do so safely.
Steve Portingay, the 83, Michael Dawkins in 64. Both those trucks going a lap down. Here comes Portingay, 3 abreast. No contact there.
Ernie was looking down on the inside, thinking that the lap trucks might open up some sort of a lane. Didn't happen. He settled back into 3rd. Portingay already has a little damage on the right rear. We'll take a break with Jack Sprague leading the Lowe's 150.
Get top brands and top performance at just any auto parts store.
Get serious. Get Western Auto.
Western Auto's gonna spring these parts.
How far have Goodyear retailers lowered prices on America's #1 brand?
No! Lower! Hey, guys! Keep going! Lower!
Everyday low prices on America's #1 brand with quality Goodyear tires starting at $19.99 and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
You know, we're really excited to be opening the season in Colorado. And although it's a new sport in Denver, most of our fans are pretty knowledgeable.
Was that a triple Lux?
Of course, some are still learning.
Guys, stop telling me to hit out of the park!
In Detroit, they throw octopus on the ice. Here, they're still experimenting.
Hey, is that a T-bone? I think it's a porterhouse.
It's a learning process.
Zam, bone, eat.
You see the NASCAR fan that is really committed.
They'll be sitting in the grandstands probably at 7 o'clock in the morning, even if it's pouring down rain. They'll drive 6 hours to meet you for 2 minutes.
Well, the word I think that sticks out in my mind is loyal.
When they go to the grocery store, they look for the products that sponsor race cars.
Loyalty is what a NASCAR fan is all about.
NASCAR fans, it's true. You're the best in all of sports.
And Jeff Bodine takes the lead as we come back.
Just back here at North Wilkesboro and in traffic, Bodine found a way to thread his way past Sprague. Now Irvin is trying to do likewise in the yellow truck on the bottom, and he's got the spot. Ernie is up to 2nd. The 7 is your leader. Everybody else in that pack is a lapper. And look at Irvin.
Ernie and Portingay make some contact.
Well, if Ernie needed a traffic test, he just had it. I'd give him a pretty good mark. He gained a position.
An excellent mark. There we see Darrell Waltrip and now Portingay and Ernie once again almost getting together.
Darrell slow on the bottom. They went 3 wide for a moment as Sprague tried to retaliate against Irvin, but there was nothing there. Ernie was already past him. And now they have cleared that huge gaggle of trucks and for a moment have breathing space. But Ernie handled that very, very well. Actually gained a position in the traffic jam. Sprague, the big loser, he caught that traffic leading and came out 3rd.
And we see the white truck right behind reporting gate is Todd Bodine. So while they were closing up on that traffic, Bodine was able to close right back up.
Reagan led only the second time this year. He led 3 laps earlier at Louisville. Had caught and passed Ernie Irvin, but now Jeff Bodine has again emerged, as he has in the last 2 races here on ESPN, as the truck to beat.
Man.
Meanwhile, looky here, the black 3 is way back in the back.
And Ernie Irvin trying to go by Bodine for the lead. Hey, here comes Sprague with it.
Bodine gave him a lot of room. Sprague sees that as an opportunity, dives into the gap. Bodine says, wait a minute, I'm not feeling that generous. I'm going to race you for second. And that's what you see out the rear deck. There's the look from Ernie Irvin's tailgate. Bodine closes back in.
You see Bill Sedgwick on the outside of Ernie.
Bill Sedgwick a lap down. Now, there's a measure of what kind of difficulty some of these guys have had with North Wilkesboro. Look at this. Well, Skinner said he was going to race Joe Ruttman. That's exactly what's happened. I don't think this is strategy. Ruttman goes by Skinner on the inside. That's for 9th spot. And Ernie, I got to believe, as Ernie Irvin continues to battle for the lead, that Skinner does not want to be racing Ruttman.
And there we see Jeff Bodine trying to take the lead back from Ernie. And here comes Sprague.
And they both got him. A lead-swapping battle as the NASCAR Craftsman Super Trucks come to the 5/8 mile at North Wilkesboro. In the middle of that war is Ernie Irvin making his return to racing. Bodine leads it. Sprague is second. Irvin now running in third as they hit turn 3. And closing on that battle is the 61 of Todd Bodine. Meanwhile, Joe Ruttman from 17th starting spot has climbed to 7th, and in the process has passed the pole sitter Mike Skinner, who has slid to 8th.
And we see Kenny Wallace has been able to get by Mike Bliss. That's Kenny in the Red Dog Ford, and Mike Bliss in Ultra Wheels Ford. That's not rain, folks. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're not going to have any of that this weekend. Was Kenny Wallace impressive last week at Martinsville, or what? From dead last to 4th. It was incredible.
And was involved in a crash, had to make a pit stop, and I started at the back another time as well.
Let's go trackside to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, you were talking about Mike Bliss, and I know he's running right now in that battle that you're talking about. And before the race, I asked him, I said, what effect has Barry Dodson had so far? He says, well, I tell you what, he's brought a confidence factor to the team that we didn't have, and there is definite control. He comes in, he tells you exactly what he wants. He says, there is a direction and a purpose, and we are going to go towards the front.
Got a report that Bob Strait has trouble. Truck is smoking.
He's been in the pits. He was in just a few laps ago, and he has been slow. So, and there's someone who's getting the black flag. That was the 37 truck that was getting the black flag, but he's in, and we see here goes Jeff Bodine trying to get by. That's Mike Wallace. He goes by. Sammy Swindell right in front. Sprague just hoping for an opening. And Ernie.
Swindell doing a doubleheader today, racing this afternoon here in the Super Truck Division. Then he'll hop the plane and fly to Williams Grove to race the sprint car tonight. Let's see how much effort he'll make here to stay on the lead lap as the leader Bodine is there to press him. Here is Bliss coming up the inside to try to reclaim 4th spot, and does, taking it away from Kenny Wallace.
And Butch Miller on the inside trying to take the spot away in the Rebestas truck. He does. He has the spot.
I'm going to correct that. That is 5th spot. 5th, 6th, and 7th. The battle we're watching. You're riding in the 5th place truck as Bodine, Sprague, Irvin, and Todd Bodine are your top 4. Running on back a little further through the field as we watch the leaders. Still a tight trio with Bodine showing the way. I get the sense that races, and for a couple of different reasons, have won one yet.
And in Richmond, he got beat by a foot, and at Martinsville, he had a crash on the last corner of the last lap. So you're right. He could have 2 wins easily, but he has 0. There was Ernest Winslow in the 68, and I guess that's Dirk Stevens in 78. And Ernie goes by, Sprague goes by. All 3 leaders able to get by.
They've opened a bit more separation now over Todd Bodine, who momentarily is hung up in that traffic. As Jeff leads them off turn 4 to put another lap in the book. 150 the distance. They'll break at 76 and 74. laps and take an intermission in the middle. Here you see Butch Miller in the number 98, fourth ranked in the point standings.
And Joe Ruttman has cost Kenny Wallace. So Ruttman's got a great run going.
He's pretty serious about this deal today for sure. He having been overshadowed a bit by there.
Well, I've been keeping my eye on Joe Ruttman and Mike Skinner, and Ruttman is pulling away from Skinner. Now, we talked to the team, Richard Childress Racing. The guys say he has not said anything wrong is with the truck. We go over to Joe Ruttman's team. They say everything is fine. The truck is hooked up and pulling away at this point. I don't know if Skinner's team's just sort of not telling us, or if maybe Mike's just sort of biding his time. But I'll tell you what, he is losing ground every lap, and that I don't think is part of the game plan.
That sure doesn't look like the strategy to Skinner that we've seen all year long, does it? That he's always been a good front guy.
But don't forget, in these truck races, we've got a break, and they can work on the truck 7-8 minutes, and a lot of work can be done. It's really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what Ernie Irvan tells his crew to do. Just how much is Ernie back? Can he feel exactly what he needs to do to that truck at halfway?
Has a very interesting conversation with Larry McReynolds on that subject that we'll share with you when we come back. Jeff Bodine shows the way in the Lowe's 150.
How cold will it be? How late will it be? How far from home will you be when your battery decides to die? It's hard to say. So if your battery's more than 3 years old, don't chance it. Maybe this is the time to replace it with the one that's America's most trusted. The Die Hard battery. Before yours dies, get the Die Hard at Sears Auto Center.
If your journeys take you from one extreme to another, you need Rancho RS 9000 shocks. The only shocks for your truck with a 5-position ride control adjustment. For extreme comfort on the road to extra control on more challenging terrain. And with Rancho's optional remote control system, you can adjust the shocks from inside your vehicle. Now with this kind of adjustable comfort and control, aren't you glad you drive a truck? Rancho RS 9000 shocks. Call toll-free for the dealer nearest you.
We're back at North Wilkesboro, where Jeff Bodine has just lapped Bob Keselowski and goes to work on the outside of Toby Butler, and apparently will make quick work of him. And it's kind of reminiscent of what happened here in the Winston Cup race last year when Jeff just chewed him up on Hoosier tires and became the first guy in, 13 years, I guess, to lap the field. I don't think he's going to lap the field here today, but he has become the dominant force in this truck race as he pulls away from the second-ranked truck, number 25 right there, second-place truck. That is Jack Sprague, and Sprague in turn has put a little gap on Ernie Irvan.
And then we see Toby Butler in the Ortho truck. Toby is the 18th position, running in 18th position. So right now, only 17 trucks on the lead lap. It would make that 16 because Rick Corelli in the Total Performance truck has been lapped.
Another example of a guy who just didn't come to terms with North Wilkesboro. I mean, Corelli is the 5th-ranked driver in the series and qualified, back in 18th spot, and was already a lap down.
Now here we've got a great race going between Butch Miller in the 98, with Kenny Wallace in the 90, and Joe Ruttman in the 84, the 800 Collect truck.
And I think it's worth noting that Joe's charge to the front has kind of stalled out here. We made the point last week when we saw so many guys come from deep in the field to run in the top 10. As you climb that ladder, it gets harder. The 7th place guy is a lot tougher to pass than the 17th place guy, and that is certainly true right now. Ruttman has caught Kenny Wallace, but hasn't done much with him.
And we see that Mike Bliss has caught Todd Bodine.
Well, this has suddenly become the battle from 4th on back as Jeff Bodine opens up his gap out front. And he's just cutting a swath through this field. Dave Resendiz, the crew chief on that number 7 truck, and sometimes driver of the truck. There are several interesting stories like that in this field, including that 75 truck that he just lapped. Been interesting following the progress of Bill Sedgwick from crew chief to driver to crew chief.
And we see that Mike Bliss has gotten by Todd Bodine. Also, Butch Miller's gotten by Todd. And we see Todd is back right in front of Joe Ruttman, so he's lost 3 spots. Kenny Wallace has gotten by him. Here comes Wallace on the inside of Butch Miller. Butch wisely backs off, and we see Todd Bodine lose another position to Joe Ruttman. So the Roush truck having some problems now getting hooked up.
It's just taken, 2 laps for that number 61 to go from the front of this pack to the back. So clearly something has gone awry for Todd Bodine. Wallace continues to impress. This is an interesting kind of deal. This number 90 truck owned by Earl Barban, who is actually the transporter driver for Rusty Wallace, decided to build the truck, was going to race it himself because of sponsorship money. And Kenny said, let me race it a couple of times, and he's done very well with it.
He has done a great job. Last week at Martinsville was the debut of this truck. And he finished, 4th, was it?
Yeah. Started last. Had a provisional because they didn't have any points. Entry blank, rather. And came through the field, tore it up a little bit, went to the back again, came back up and finished 4th. And has made it sure today that it...
That was those trucks going by Corelli and Sedgwick. They were 3 abreast there for just a second, but
Sedgwick gave a little way there, I think, and wisely so. Corelli stuck on the outside there as they go by, lapping him. Again, you're watching the trucks from 4th on back now. The 4th place truck, as you can see in the new graphic up on the left-hand side, is number 2, Mike Bliss. I saw Mike in the pits this morning. He said, you never come talk to me anymore like you used to on Thunder. I said, well, you've given us a pretty good number of opportunities to talk about you, though. You've done a pretty good job this year. But I said, hey, you're starting over, buddy. You're back to being a little fish in a big pond. He grinned. He said, yeah, I know it, but I'm trying to grow up.
And he's doing a great job today. That's a pretty tough competition. He's got behind him Kenny Wallace, Butch Miller, and Joe Ruttman.
Experience is so critical in this kind of competition. He's seeing many of these racetracks for the first time, and I think Bliss has done a great job. Ruttman has been very impressive in coming from 17th to his current running position of 7th, but that charge is stalled out for the moment. Jeff Bodine continues to open up the gap up front, having come from 7th starting spot. We'll be right back.
There's one way to win the Napa 500, and then there's another. At Napa's Pick the Winner sale, where you can register for a chance to win the Napa 500 pace car. While you're here, pick up some great parts and accessories at low prices, like a Napa power battery, just $29.99, and Napa motor oil for only 89 cents. The Pick the Winner sale, going on now at Napa.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
With each race, he faces a new challenge, a fresh shot at the pole, and another chance to win this season's overall prize, the Busch Series Pole Award. Only then will he earn a ride at Daytona, where he'll run with the big boys in the Busch Clash. We're proud to be with him from the first turn to the last. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR.
When cars raced at an awesome 5 miles per hour, Mobil Oil was there. When a race car broke 100, Mobil was in it. Mobil was in the winner of the first race across America. And just last year, Mobil 1 had the most first, second, and third place wins on the Indy circuit. We've been helping engines last for a long time. Mobil, changing oil for over 125 years.
How far have Goodyear retailers lowered prices on America's #1 brand?
No! Lower! Hey, guys! Keep going! Lower! Lower! Lower!
Everyday low prices on America's #1 brand, with quality Goodyear tires starting at $19.99, and save 25% on other famous Goodyear tires. How low are the prices? Drop in and find out.
Back in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, 5/8 mile oval. Sits on a little bit of an angle. The first and second turns actually 15 feet lower than turns 3 and 4. When they built this place 48 years ago, they had $2,000 to level the ground. When the $2,000 was gone, that's as close to level as they had it. And they said, that's going to be good enough. 47 years later, hey, good broke, don't fix it. Works just fine. Here's Ernie. We're riding along with the third place truck, and he's lost some ground here.
He has lost some ground, and Mike Bliss and all that group of trucks are catching Ernie. There we see Bliss. He's only 3 or 4 truck lengths behind now. Kenny Wallace, Butch Miller. Ernie needs to stay in front of these trucks if possible, and they wave that magic wand on it at halftime. He can still win this thing.
You made the observation about Ernie's ability to read the truck as we look from Bliss's view up ahead to Ernie Irvin. I asked Larry McReynolds about that very thing. The specific question I asked him was, when did you know that you were dealing with the Ernie Irvin of old? And he said 2 weeks ago, it would have now been 3 weeks ago at North Wilkesboro, when he tested the Winston Cup car. We unloaded off the truck, and we're within 0.2 of a second of the lap record in about 3 laps, and I thought we were doing pretty good. Ernie came in, pulled the window down, and said, loose in, pushing in the middle, and loose out. And Larry said, I knew then that Ernie was back, so he's going to be able to read that truck. Here he comes, but you know what? He's been caught. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, you were mentioning how he can read the truck. The conversation between he and the team has been that it's tight in the middle, loose everywhere else, and they're actually doing a complete diagnosis so that they'll be ready to go come the midpoint break. As you said, Dave, he has not lost a step.
He is in danger of losing a position, however, as Ernie continues to run third, perhaps fighting the truck a little bit. And Mike Bliss has closed in, and Mike has company behind him. Kenny Wallace is there, and there's the move by Bliss on the inside. And Ernie Irvin has no response. Wallace will go by as well.
And Butch Miller's going to go by. And we see Ernie getting the truck, I should say, a little sideways. And here goes his teammate, Joe Rutman, by. So now Ernie all the way back to 7th place.
Bliss. That moves to third with only 11 trucks now left on the lead lap. This has been a good race for, 30, 40 laps now. With Bliss trying to hold off Wallace, Miller getting up into the middle of it, and Rutman catching him from behind. Ernie had a retaliatory notion on Rutman there for a moment. I'd let Joe go. I wouldn't try to take those points away from Rutman. He's out to win the championship.
And we're getting very, very close to the halfway point. And I tell you who the best truck on the racetrack might be is Ron Hornaday. Remember, he started last because of the tire situation. He right now is in 8th place.
Very impressive indeed. Had fun at once. So
yes. So he started back at the back twice, as a matter of fact.
Hornaday definitely has it right after a little bit of a miscommunication in the pit. Cost him his starting spot, which was 11th.
Jeff Bodine was just given the halfway signal. There the flagman is giving the cross flag. That's the signal for halfway. Now they'll be getting the caution flag the next time by. And we see Dockin and Legacy wanting to stay in that lead lap.
And it looks like they'll be able to do so.
Legacy will stay in the lead lap. Dockin will try to save another lap. Caution is out.
First half is over. Bodine emerging as the dominant truck, but now everybody gets an opportunity to tweak their vehicles and get the handling sorted out a bit and come back and take a shot at him in the second half. Kenny Wallace got together with Nemechek after the yellow flu. I don't believe there'll be any serious harm done. Everybody's in a hurry to get back to the pits and get working on those things. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Skinner. He having gone backward rather spectacularly from the pole position, his 10th of the year.
Carl Simmons takes his goggles off.
Halftime, we'll take a break and come back with more. It's the NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck Series on ESPN. Stick around for more.
Who decided at what point that it was acceptable to fry a burger? This goes against millions of years of evolutionary instinct. I'm sorry, but burgers taste best cooked over an open flame. That's how the caveman did it. That's how Dad did it. That's how Burger King does it. I take the Whopper. Big hunk of beef cooked over actual fire. Now only 99 cents. Millions of years after the first burger, it's only 99 cents. That's got to be pretty close to what it cost back then, right?
Burger King. Get your burger's worth.
At First National Bank of Corbin, there's a good reason we're the strongest financial institution in the region. Complete dedication to serving our customers and delivering quality financial products for your checking, car, boat, and home loan needs. First National customers know they can expect innovative products with old-fashioned service. Look to First National Bank of Corbin for all your needs, because when it comes to banking, we're at your service.
Catchers had a lot of problems throwing out runners trying to steal third, especially with a right-handed hitter at the plate, the ball inside, and he has to step out and throw around the hitter. This weakness has been exploited by some of the slowest runners in the entire league. That's not to say the Cecil Fielders of the world ought to start testing his arm. Boomer, the last time the Tigers had a base stealer was Ron LaFleur.
We're back at North Wilkesboro, lower right-hand corner of your screen. Ernie Irvin's truck with the hood up. These laps do not count. Ernie is not going a lap down here. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, they're having some trouble adjusting the sway bar up front, and they have elected to go ahead and make the adjustment, and then they're going to start from the back of the pack, but they've only got about another lap and a half before we go green.
That's Larry McReynolds, of whom we spoke earlier, crew chief on Dale Jarrett's car and double crew chief for this weekend, tending to both cars, Dale's and Ernie's, and now to the NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck as well. So Ernie's going to have to come from the back as we take a look at your field summary. Bodine, the leader, has emerged as the dominant force in the second half of the first half, if you will. That would be the second quarter, wouldn't it, Benny, if this were a football game? Kenny Wallace is pretty stout. We talked about Hornaday in 8th, coming from the back. A lap from the restart as you check the rest of the field. Schrader has fallen a lap down after challenging for top 5 early. Here's your 16th through 30th positions led by Hensley. All these trucks a lap or more behind. And who's a standout, an important day, I guess, was a provisional starter and has picked up 10 spots.
And Carl Simmons has given the field a signal, 1 lap to go, a half lap. And the trucks will be back under green flag. Will Ernie Irvin make it? The hood is still up. The hood is still up. Larry is adjusting. He will not be ready.
And they're going to go without him. Ernie Irvin will be left on pit road as they start the second half of the Lowe's 150. 74 laps to go. The green is in the air. The leader, Bodine, brings him across the start-finish line. Ernie Irvin is left behind. They will use this as an opportunity to get some additional experience, get that truck running, and get back out there. Marty.
Well, what's happened is the splines won't match up. They can't get it to buckle down. So it won't be able to be driven into this condition. So they've got to stay and get it fixed right.
Sprague got into the back of the leader, Jeff Bodine, big time as they work around Darrell Waltrip and put him another lap down.
No, Darrell's trying to work around them.
Well, yeah, exactly. He wants to get that lap back. Sprague really gave Bodine a shot. Now Sprague in the red 25. And here's Hornaday. This was the championship rivalry early in the season. The black 3 and the red 16. Skinner trying to go forward after a lot of changes in his truck. Hornaday's done nothing but go forward all day long. Let's see if he's still got the fastest thing out there.
And he looks like he's struggling. He may be just down on the inside, but he appears to be struggling with the Papa John's trucks. There we see Mike Bliss going by Dennis Setzer. There's Ruttman caught back there, and we see the 3 of Skinner and Ruttman racing each other again.
That's your championship battle. Ruttman had gained 12 points at the halftime break based on their relative finish positions. However, Skinner has picked up a couple of spots since the restart and is right on the rear deck of Joe Ruttman. Ruttman second in points. Skinner, the series leader. That is your championship battle. Number 84 and number 3 in traffic.
Skinner, the white truck on the outside of Skinner is Todd Bodine. They are racing for position. And we see now Ruttman has gotten alongside of Sammy Swindell. Swindell is a lap down in the channel lock truck. There we see the 61 of Todd Bodine and Mike Skinner. That is for position. Both those trucks on the lead lap.
Oh! Ruttman just about spun her out as he tangled with Swindell.
Man, excuse me, folks. I didn't mean to scare you, but it scared me.
Good thing he didn't get behind on his steering there.
Man. And Todd Bodine goes by Skinner.
Now Skinner stalled out in the middle of this mess as they bump and beat on each other. 3 wide for a moment, but Skinner is not going anywhere. The black 3 is definitely not going forward. Here's what happened to Ruttman.
I mean, that truck is 45 degrees sideways, and he saves it. Good job, Joe.
He saw the championship evaporate in a moment there and figured, well, I better save it. And he did. The proverbial nice piece of driving. Hornaday now at the rear deck of Skinner. Hornaday in the 16 led this championship through much of the first half. Skinner in the second race out blew an engine, lost a lot of points. Hornaday led it till about mid-season. Then he had a couple of bad races. Skinner took over. Skinner has dominated it since.
Oh, Hornaday decided to go on the outside just at the time that Skinner was able to get position on Swindell.
Mike Skinner's kind of got a little of that Dale Earnhardt attitude about him, it seems. And certainly the looks to go with it, with the mustache and the sunglasses and all the rest of that. It's a nice fit with Richard Childress, the truck owner.
Now as we go back to the lead, look at old Darrell Waltrip. Remember how he struggled at the beginning? They must have made a great adjustment on his truck at halfway, because he right now is trying his best to get by Jeff Bodine.
Yeah, I believe they got it fixed. That's a rather dramatic change from the pictures we were seeing in the first few laps of this race, as Darrell just went straight backward.
And Darrell wants to do this. He was kind of embarrassed that first half, let's face it, because he just didn't run that well. But he's showing right now that, yes, I don't want to retire. I want to keep doing this for a while.
Some of the quotes in the newspapers have been interesting about Darrell. A lot of second thoughts, perhaps, about how much longer he wants to continue doing this. And then he comes here and qualifies fourth and runs like he is at this moment. And you know retirement is the furthest thing from him. Let's go back and get an update on the Ernie Irvan story with Marty Reed.
Well, you can tell by the man's out of the cockpit that the day is over, and this is not the way we wanted to talk at the end of this. And what put you out?
Well, we probably tried to do too much on the halftime, trying to make the truck better, and just didn't get it done. And, probably going to take another 10 minutes to get it right. So, man, we'll just have another day.
Hey, but I'll tell you one thing. You dazzled the fans, and you dazzled all of us, and thanks for taking us along for the ride.
Well, I tell you, I have a lot of people to thank, Napa and United and all the no-fair people. Thanks for that.
Let's go back out on track.
Sprague has collided with the leader, Bodine, and spun out. Bodine hit again, knocked out of the lead again.
This is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable.
It is the third caution, and it comes literally moments after Darrell Waltrip had unlapped himself.
We see Darrell, and as Sprague tries his best to get in that spot, and Jeff comes down trying to take that spot away, trying to block that move by Sprague. They make contact, and Bodine is lucky that he did not back in the fence.
Well, we'll get another look at it. Ahead is Waltrip, having just unlapped himself. There is the contact. Not as clear cut as last week when he got hit squarely in the back. I mean, Jeff was trying to come down and block that spot. So Sprague, that 25 truck, by the way, that is the same truck with which Terry Labonte won at Richmond. So Jeff Bodine already has some bad memories of that truck, and now he has another one. There's the low angle.
And then we can see the contact. And Jeff, as I said, lucky he didn't go up and back the thing in the fence. But Sprague is stopped up in turn 4 right now. I guess he's waiting for the pace truck. Is that? We'll see what's going to happen here. I guess he just has gotten ahead of the pace truck. And okay, now he will assume his position in the lead, and the flagman gives the signal.
All right, we'll take a quick break and come back for the restart with Sprague the leader after Bodine's spin. Wilkesboro, North Carolina, watching the NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck Series. We have come to expect fireworks and excitement. Today is no exception. The leader spun out just past halfway.
And the leader was Jeff Bodine, the Exide Batteries truck. Now Jack Sprague, the Bud truck in the red 25, has assumed the lead, and Kenny Wallace in number 90, the black and white truck, is second. Green flag.
Back underway on lap 95. Sprague gets a great restart. Wallace will go after it. It's the first opportunity we've had to see Kenny contend for the lead here in his short truck racing career. Miller is up to third in the 98-2. On the outside there, Mike Bliss sitting in fourth spot. And Kenny Schrader in fifth in the 52.
Joe Rutten.
Rutten would be fifth. And that's solid for Ruttman because nowhere in the top 10 will we find Mike Skinner. He continues to struggle. The championship point leader's truck is still not working. Bodine on the rear deck of Ruttman.
I'd hate to be in Joe Ruttman's shoes. I'd hate to be in front of Jeff Bodine right now.
You think Jeff might be in a hurry to get back to the front?
I think he might be. Just a little steam.
A sensor on the inside of Bodine. Now the question by Wood out.
Ooh, it's crowded there. It is crowded.
And you're exactly right. I mean, Ruttman is the guy in the hot seat. And Bodine goes by on the outside.
Did you see him just drive up on the outside? Wow, that Exide truck is strong. He passes Ruttman in one straightaway.
On the outside to boot. How much speed do they scrub off in the front? Do they use brakes?
Oh, yes, hard. Very, very hard on the brakes. And there we see the three abreast. Down in the one, and they make it.
Potential trouble there for Hornaday 16 and 3 Skinner.
Skinner and Todd Bodine, the 61, once again are racing for position. And we see that Sedgwick gets his truck sideways. Meanwhile, Hornaday is on the inside of Swindell.
Hornaday opening up maybe a truck length over Skinner, trying to get through this traffic. Get on up there and figure out a way to run down Ruttman. Remember, Hornaday is not out of this championship. He's 187 points back. Run you back through the field. Note that Bodine wound up 5th after that spin, so it was much less disastrous than it might have been. Skinner continues to be the story as he struggles here. I don't think they got that truck a whole lot better, maybe a little bit better, but not as good as he would like.
And there we see Todd Bodine on the inside. Meanwhile, Kenny Wallace is not letting Sprague get away. And there we see Butch Miller, the 3rd place, and Bliss 4th. So
still very much a race.
Yes, it is very much a race. And there we see Todd Bodine. Skinner wisely backs off, does not make it 3 abreast.
Bodine will take that spot, try to work his way around Swindell as they finally leave the 75 truck of Sedgwick behind. It has been a wild season for the Craftsman Super Truck Series. They'll go west and decided in the 3 remaining races as this wraps up the East Coast swing here that has brought them as companion races to the Winston Cup cars. And Martinsville here in North Wilkesboro and in Richmond.
And next week on Saturday, these trucks will be at Sears Point, California on the road course. Now, that ought to be exciting.
Wally Dollenbach will come back and race a truck there. All right, let's go back and check with the leaders up front. Jack Sprague still under a great deal of pressure here from Kenny Wallace. Wallace sizing it up at this point, or is he running that truck as hard as it'll run to try to get around him?
I think he's probably running as hard as he can and not spin the tires. He does not want to spin the tires. He wants to save them as much as he possibly can.
I want to make a quick mention that the NASCAR promoter fraternity lost a very good friend. Dick Steinbeck died last week. The Orange Show Speedway out in San Diego, California has been a NASCAR track for something like 40 years. Dick ran it from 1985 on. The show will go on. His wife, Linda, will continue to run the Orange Show, and they'll run tonight with the Coors 100 on the NASCAR Featherlight Tour. So our condolences to Dick's family and best of luck to Linda. She continues a great NASCAR tradition out there at San Bernardino on the Orange Show.
Don't you know that Enoch Staley would love to see these trucks here on his North Wilkesboro Speedway? This is the first major event that's been held here since Enoch passed away.
He'd be proud of the crowd they put into this place. Let's say, which that's a lot of folks. The hills and hollers of North Carolina. This is a fascinating place. If you've never been here, you really need to come. It's not exactly the middle of nowhere, but it's close.
Oh, no.
Big racetrack.
This is home, Dave. This is where I grew up in Wilkes County. And I tell you what, we're going to see a great race because Butch Miller, there he is. That red and blue truck, the bestest truck, is closing in. Sprague right now is holding up Kenny Wallace just a little bit. And Butch is hoping that he'll hold him up until he can get there. Now here comes Kenny. Does he have it? No.
Kenny's touched him a time or two just to let him know he's there. Nothing too enthusiastic yet. Well, I would qualify as enthusiastic right there. He must be listening. We got him a little bit sideways. Sprague said, "No, I knew that was coming. No problem." Lapping at close to 109 miles an hour as Wallace works on Sprague, perhaps feeling the pressure from Butch Miller, the fourth-ranked driver in the series. Kenny Wallace first raced here in the Cup car back in 1990, finished 26th. He's won 4 Winston Cup races since. He's putting that North Wilkesboro experience to good use. We'll take a break and come back with more. Who's going to win the Lowe's 150? Find out when we come back.
You know, at AutoZone, we know our customers work just as hard as we do. So we're open when they need us, at night and on Sundays. And since 2 million folks each week count on AutoZone for what they need when they need it, we're not about to let them down. That's why we carry so many parts and why we price them so low every day. You see, selling top quality parts at low prices every day is how we make a living. But helping customers, well, that's how we make friends.
This is the desert. And these are Chevy trucks. About the only thing growing out here is our reputation. The most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Chevy trucks. Like a rock.
I love being a caddy. The people, the world-class golf, the great golf courses. I just cannot stand the commute.
Hey, stop blowing your horn. You don't need the whole road.
We're back, and look at this. Kenny Wallace up the inside. He's got him. Drives around Sprague after giving him a couple little warning times. A little tap of the horn there, and then drove right on by. That was pretty.
It was pretty, and then we see that Bliss and Jeff Bodine. Hey, Jeff Bodine is not out of this thing yet, you know.
Let's just make it official. It's a 5-truck battle for the lead with Bodine, the 5th-place man. Here's how it came about.
Off turn 2, Kenny gets position. Sprague has nothing to do but just let him go, because if he comes down, there's going to be a crash. Like there was when Bodine was up in front.
Kenny knows that and says, "I'll take the lead. Thank you very much." Sprague currently with 12 top 10 finishes. His best, a 4th-place finish at Flemington. 7th in the series points, but 2nd for the moment. Wallace goes up the hill and loses everything he got and more.
Oh.
Goes from 1st to 5th.
Man, oh, something is wrong. Something is wrong with the Red Dog truck. The right front tire's flat.
Flat tire.
Yes, he stopped up in the middle of the corner.
So the yellow will fly. Now gets it back underway. Tire went flat for Wallace in turn 3 and 4. Up the hill he went.
Was that a great move on Kenny Wallace's stop? He goes up and stops, gets the caution out. He comes in and changes the tire. He's on the lead lap. He doesn't lose those 2 laps he was going to lose changing that tire. Kenny, you're thinking, buddy.
I think he did that on purpose, huh?
I know he did that on purpose.
Well, there's the offending right front. Now, will NASCAR have a word with him about that? Will they say, "Kenny, you could have just driven down off the racetrack"?
They'll say, Kenny, you start at the rear of that line. That car's on the lead lap. Exactly where he was going to start anyway. Kenny, that was smart. That was really smart.
You get high marks from Benny Parsons for that one, Wallace. That's the Red Dog truck. Any sign of dogism out there, they will bite you on the leg. They took a little nip out of the 25 truck of Sprague and then used that opportunity to drive by on the bottom, but it was all for naught as Wallace falls victim to a flat tire. So the unexpected continues to be routine in Craftsman Super Truck Racing here on ESPN. We'll take a break and come back as the laps begin to wind down. Stay with us.
We didn't get into super truck racing just to add another trophy to our collection or to add another 15 minutes to our fame. And we didn't do it just to show up the competition. Okay, maybe we did. Chevy trucks, like a rock.
Got a car, but need an engine?
Then come to Pep Boys, where you'll find a huge selection of over 1,200 quality engines for your car or light truck for as low as $699.99. Import or domestic, all have a 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. And you can charge it with your Pep Boys credit card and pay as little as $35 a month. So come to Pep Boys and drive away happy.
Yeah, our cabin is pretty remote, and you really have to be able to depend on your tools.
You can bet this guy shops at the National Hardware Sale at Sears.
There's certain things you just can't do without.
You mean like this Craftsman 7.2-volt cordless drill, only $49.99. Or maybe a Craftsman 16-inch chainsaw with case and all of this, just $149.99.
Everything we own is Craftsman.
Everything?
Well, I wouldn't say everything's Craftsman. I mean, the refrigerators Kenmore, you know.
The National Hardware Sale at Sears and Sears Hardware stores.
I want more power.
I'd like better mileage.
Split fire doesn't look like any other spark plug. It doesn't work like any other spark plug. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. With split fire, you'll get more here, and you'll spend less here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You'll get more power and more mileage for your money back. You'll get more here, and you'll spend less here. Guaranteed.
We're back at North Wilkesboro. Tire change right front for Kenny Wallace, who had assumed the lead just moments before that right front went flat. He returns to the fray.
They say, why didn't they change the right rear as well when we were in there? Because they had to jack the car up. Because under the rules, you can only change the tire that's flat. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, they're looking at this thing, and you may be peeking in on it too. I cannot tell exactly whether it cut or whether he just ran over something. We'll get to you if we find out the exact reason. But the inner liner, everything on this thing's toasted. And Benny, you're right. Great piece of driving on his part to stay on the lead lap. And remember last week at our midway point, he said, you know, going from 36 to 8 was the easy part. The other 8 spots was the toughest. Well, he made it to 4th. This week he made it to 1st. Now he's going to have to start all the way over again.
Kenny Wallace continues to provide a lot of thrills in Craftsman Super Truck Racing, but Jack Sprague is back out front. The position he held moments before that Wallace incident. Wallace came up, took the lead away from him impressively. Butch Miller will get his first shot at the lead here today as we prepare for the restart. Butch lines up second, then Mike Bliss, Jeff Bodine, and in 5th, Joe Ruttman. Hoping to leave here the championship point leader. The green is in the air. Great restart for Sprague.
And Schrader trying to get his lap back. The AC Delco truck, the blue and white one. He and Swindell both. Swindell's a couple of laps down.
Now Miller gets it moving up on the outside as they come to start finish. Fast trucks. Pretty trucks.
Really fast, pretty trucks. And we see Swindell once again has Mike Bliss, the Ultra Wheels. Oh, that's Butch Miller, I'm sorry.
Butch around the outside, but did not get around. Swindell comes up the racetrack directly in front of him. Butch to the bottom, and now here comes Bliss to challenge Butch Miller.
They're flagging the 38 truck, but outside of him.
They're telling the NASCAR officials they're going to black flag the 38 for not moving over and letting these lead trucks go. There we see the NASCAR official violently waving that black flag. But meanwhile, it's going to do Butch any good because he is side by side.
Clear high.
And Bliss goes by.
So Miller will lose the spot in the process.
Clear.
Now Swindell comes down out of the way to let the leaders go by. But in the course of all that, Sprague has opened up a pretty fair gap. Here's the look out the back of Bliss's truck. Marty?
Well, guys, we can update you on the tire situation for Kenny Wallace. Both valve stems were missing, which would give credence to the fact that probably the contact with Jack Sprague is what started the deflation on the tires, and then it just eventually let go.
And so that is what cost Kenny Wallace the lead. Now he comes up and has a pretty good tussle here with Mike Chase as he goes by on the inside. Kenny's in a hurry to get back to the front, but he has a lot of company in that category.
And they were 3 abreast just for a second coming off the corner, but meanwhile, there's the battle for the lead. That's Scott Lagacy in the 24, the DuPont truck. He is in the lead lap. He had Kenny Wallace racing for position. That's 9th spot.
Running it back through the field as 9th and 10th have at it. And just in front of them, Skinner. Continuing to struggle a little in 8th. This is not a disastrous hit in terms of his championship. If the race were to end now, Rutman would pick up, 10, 15 points? But it's certainly not what Skinner came here to do today. His goal was to race Rutman. In fact, he has chased Rutman through most of the afternoon.
And qualifying on the pole, it looked like he had everything going his way, an upper hand. But once the race started, it didn't take but just a few laps for him to find out the chassis setup was certainly not correct.
Confirms what a lot of guys have told us, not only about the truck race, but about the Winston Cup race this weekend. It's a tough place to get it just right.
A very, very tough place. Kenny Wallace trying his best to get by Scott Lagacy. And Lagacy trying to get by the 3 truck of Skinner. Here he comes on the inside. Has position.
Skinner can't seem to keep it on the bottom. Lagacy will perhaps try to get on by. Yeah. He's got position and holds it and should take 8th place away from Skinner. And Wallace will try to fit through that same gap. Skinner in danger of losing 2 spots and falling to the tail end of the top 10.
And look at you.
Challenging for the lead. Look at this. Mike Bliss inside. Miller right there with him. No response from Jack Sprague. Here comes Bodine in the 7th. How big a hurry will Jeff be in to get around Jack Sprague?
He doesn't have a lot of time, just 20 laps. It looks like Mike Bliss's Ultra Wheels truck is running pretty doggone well.
Bliss's best this season, 3rd at Mesa Marin, top 10 his last 5 outings. And yes, Mike, we will talk to you if you win this race, I guarantee it.
Man, Barry Dodson is his credibility is going to be really high after this deal.
He's going to want a big bonus. Barry Dodson, of course, was crew chief for Kyle Petty. Left that team 10 days ago. Has signed on to be Bliss's crew chief for the full season next year. And is filling in that capacity here today. When Champion was the crew chief, he's gone.
Last time we saw these guys together, the 7 was in front. And here they come. They're side by side.
Never touched. Well, not very hard. Bodine takes 3rd. Meanwhile, Miller working on Bliss up front. Sprague has had the lead a couple of times. Can't hang on to it. Truck doesn't want to stick to the bottom very well.
I tell you, I've always, Butch Miller is a great race car driver, and he's very patient. Just gets the chassis as good as anyone. And I tell you, Mike Bliss is going to have his hands full from probably Jeff Bodine and Butch Miller before this thing's over.
Butch pretty hungry for wins. He has won a Super Truck race this year, but most of the time he gets 3rd, and he gets pretty tired of being 3rd. And he's quick to tell you that. He's 2nd with a shot at the victory here today as we take a break with 134 down.
Time is short, so how are you going to spend it? Spend it in a 95 Ford Tough Truck from Marie Myers Ford in Corbin. Buy Tough Trucks, buy Ford Tough Trucks. Time is on your side, so get to Marine Myers Ford in Corbin. Nothing's built like a Ford truck from top to bottom. Quality parts with quality workmanship that goes into every truck Ford makes. Built tough, Ford truck tough at Marine Myers Ford in Corbin.
Nutri-Stories. That's what's wrong. I'm fat. I tried a lot of other diets. On Nutrisystem, I was actually losing weight, and people could see it. Week by week, the weight is going off. Nutrisystem completely and totally changed my life. I used to be the girl at the door telling my sister's dates that she was gone. Now I'm the one they're coming to get.
Call your locally owned Nutrisystem in Somerset and take advantage of outstanding fall specials and start your Nutri-Story today.
Be opening the season in Colorado. And although it's a new sport in Denver, most of our fans are pretty knowledgeable.
Was that a triple Lux?
Of course, some are still learning.
Guys, stop telling me to hit out of the park!
In Detroit, they throw octopus on the ice. Here, they're still experimenting.
Hey, is that a T-bone? I think it's a porterhouse.
It's a learning process.
Zam, bone, eat.
All of us get busy with what we do every week. However, there's nothing more important than spending time with your family. Good night, air. Good night, noise everywhere. Take a moment and do something special with your family. You should never be too busy.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy.
This message brought to you by NASCAR. The teams, the tracks, the drivers.
We're back at North Wilkesboro. Benny, I got to ask you, with the laps winding down the way they are, has Bodine time to get up here and make this a three-truck race for the lead, or is Miller the only threat to the leader, Mike Bliss?
It looks like that Miller is the threat, but if they start racing each other, Bliss and the 98 of Butch Miller, then Jeff Bodine will catch him. But as long as Miller can't get up and get alongside Bliss and make him start using his mirror, I don't think he'll catch him.
I'll tell you what, Butch isn't there yet. Bliss is maintaining that gap at 2 to 3 truck lengths and driving the thing just as smooth as silk. He cut his teeth up in the Pacific Northwest, Milwaukee.
Caution down for debris. Caution down for debris.
We've got a yellow. Wow. Caution flag for debris on the racetrack. Mike Bliss, 2 to 3 truck length lead will evaporate, and Butch Miller will be tapping on his rear deck. Wow. When we restart.
Now, they're going to restart this race with the 10-lap rule. That means that the cars on the lead lap will start nose to tail. We won't have those cars a lap down on the inside of them. So Bodine caught a break. He absolutely caught a break.
We're going to get a single file restart.
There will be single file restart
when
we resume. And the word was to
I've been going everything I got, Jerry. Yeah, I know. But maybe he'll make a mistake. He's a lot tighter than we are off the corner.
That's Miller.
Yeah, Butch Miller said, I've been giving it all I got. I kind of felt that way.
Yeah, you're doing real good. We just got to hope he just makes a mistake, that's all.
Precluded the need for us to speculate about whether he was keeping any in his pocket. Butch says,
It's all on the table.
We've had the excitement every time we've had a different leader so far today. Bliss leading for the first time. We'll take a quick break and come back to see if he can hang on to it in the 10 laps that remain.
Your car's engine was made for the open road. But that's not where it is day in and day out. Stop-and-go driving can kill an engine by creating deposits and wear that rob performance and shorten engine life. That's why you need the added protection of TM8, a new engine treatment from Valvoline. TM8 coats moving parts with 8 friction-fighting ingredients, including Teflon. So no matter where you are, your engine will run just like it's on the open road. TM8 from Valvoline, because driving is more stop than go.
How cold will it be? How late will it be? How far from home will you be when your battery decides to die? It's hard to say. So if your battery's more than 3 years old, don't chance it. Maybe this is the time to replace it with the one that's America's most trusted. The Die-Hard battery. Before yours dies, get the Die-Hard at Sears Auto Center.
Who the hell is that? Who is it? I don't know. Oh, Bill Pellington. He was indecent, that guy. He broke his arm against the Lions and played 5 plays with a broken arm. The next year, they fit him with a steel plate on his forearm, and we're watching him in the movies going around using it like a sledgehammer. Boom! And Billy Hart for the Packers, he come in the defensive huddle and says to the official, why don't you give the son of a gun and let him do a clean job on it?
The definitive rundown on each weekend's racing action, RPM tonight. Coming up Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock out on the left coast. What are we, a lap back to racing? Butch Miller, winner of the closest NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck finish ever by a 10,000th of a second over Skinner. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Hurry up, I got to get green flag.
Yeah. Listen, you're waving a magic wand here. Your man's running really well.
He's a good race driver, you know. I got to give green flag here. I'll be back in a minute.
So you could see, remember we talked about the fact that he was definitive and had a direction and a purpose. You just got your first taste of it. It's time to go racing.
He gives the word to his man Mike Bliss, who responds beautifully. Meanwhile, Bodine goes after the all-out Miller for second place.
Clear.
A race that we'll see for the last 10 laps because Bliss doesn't show any signs of letting up. Bodine is there to challenge Miller. You heard Miller say he's going to get all he's got, and he can't catch Bliss. Bliss a little tighter out of the corners.
And we see the Ron Hornaday truck. He just passed Joe Ruttman for position. Took 5 points away from Ruttman in that chase for the championship. Boy, these trucks are awfully equal. And I believe right now that they're going to race each other and Bliss can drive away.
It is a great 5-truck battle right here, but it's from second on back. Bliss, indeed, is leaving them behind. It's Miller, chased by Bodine. Sprague is fourth. Then comes Hornaday in fifth spot. Ruttman has slipped to sixth.
And right now, Butch Miller has his hands full with Bodine, and that's letting Bliss get away every foot at a time. Just getting away from Miller and Bodine. I think Bodine would be faster if he could get in front.
Keep it digging. You're doing a good job. Just keep it digging.
That's Dodson on the radio to Bliss.
Keep it digging. That's for Southernford. Go!
Actually, I think that's the spotter. I don't think that was Barry.
4 laps. 4 laps to go.
That's correct.
4 laps to home.
Boy, Jimmy Smith must be beside himself. The owner of this truck got to be delighted. He's been coming to the races for 25 years with Junior Johnson. Just coming, a friend of Junior's, and this year decided to get in the racing business and bought this truck with Mike Bliss in it, and they've done a great job. There we see Barry watching him.
Really one of the guys who helped to create this series out there on the West Coast, helped come up with the idea for truck racing and sold it to NASCAR. And now Jimmy's truck is out front with Mike Bliss, the pilot, and Bliss coming out of the same ranks that produced Jeff Gordon, has set his sights on a NASCAR career, saw this as the way to get in the door. And I'll tell you what, he's going to put a very big footprint on that door there.
And next week in Sears Point, Bliss will have a teammate, Robbie Gordon. That was rubber, some pieces of rubber that flew up as he came off the second corner. Nothing to be alarmed about. Here he comes. The white flag is in the air, Dave.
1 lap for Mike Bliss. An opportunity to become the latest first-time winner in the Craftsman Super Truck Series, and it looks like the race for second is not going to develop. Bodine has nothing for Butch Miller. We got trouble for Chase on the last lap, but it's not going to impede the progress of Mike Bliss out of Milwaukee, Oregon, as he takes the checkered flag and wins the Lowe's 150. Welcome to the big leagues, Mr. Bliss. That's a happy bunch right there.
Isn't that great?
There's Dodson. I was looking for Jim Smith, and I didn't see him in that bunch. I'm sure he's halfway to victory lane by now. To meet his hero, Mike Bliss has won it, and won it in impressive style. Strongest when he needed to be at the end of the race. We'll meet him in victory lane when we come back to wrap up the story of the Lowe's 150.
At AutoZone, most of our customers are folks who like to work on their cars themselves. But the ones who come in most often are those who work on cars for a living. Guys like Ed Graven. Now, Ed's garage is in Ogden, Utah, where most of the time you'll find him pulling an engine or sliding under a car. And just about every day, he drives past a half dozen other parts stores on his way to AutoZone. Because Ed knows that when it comes to getting the right part for the right price, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
At Chevrolet, we're not just out here winning. We're testing suspensions, developing more powerful engines, and learning more about aerodynamics. Because if you want to bring more race-winning technology to the street than any other car company, sometimes you have to work weekends. That's genuine Chevrolet.
Some say he's the best pure runner in the country. Thursday night, you decide. Stephen Davis and Auburn take on Mississippi State at Jordan-Hare Stadium in an SEC West border brawl. Mississippi State versus Auburn. Thursday night at 8, only on ESPN.
The Lowe's 150 has been brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, proud to be the official truck of the NASCAR Super Truck Series. Well, it is over, and Mike Bliss has won it. He's in victory lane with Marty Reed.
I was just reminiscing with the guys about earlier this year. You said, I'm not so sure I may win one of these things. I got a long learning curve. Congratulations. Victory number 1. What a great run.
It was great. This is Barry, you know. Barry came in here. He's working for us now, and he came in here and changed some things. And without him, I couldn't do this. And it was all easy, you know. They just talked me through it at the end, and that's what it took.
Hey, I got to get you in here because he told me in private before the start of the race, he said, you know what he brings to this team right now is a direction of purpose. He knows exactly what he wants and a tremendous confidence boost. Man, do you walk on water now?
No, I don't. I'm just happy for Mike. He's an excellent race driver. I've seen him come up in the open wheel stuff, and you don't get credentials like he's got, you know, without a lot of talent. For Ford, for Ultra Wheels, for Team ASE, just an excellent win. My first race with a Ford, and, you know, we won it, and that's got to be some kind of record, man. I'm just so happy for Mike Bliss. Great job. He's a good listener.
And the Mutual Admiration Society and a team that's got a great future next year. Bliss has won it over Miller and Bodine. Hornaday came from deep in the pack. Rutman gained some points today.
And we see the points leader, Skinner, finished 10th, the last car on the lead lap.
Run you on back through 16th down through 30th. Ernie Irvin was the 30th place finisher here today. Made an impressive comeback, but did not get past halfway because they were not able to get the truck back after the halftime break. Those are the trucks that dropped out in terms of points. Rutland picked up 16 here today, trails by just 25. Going to be an interesting finish. Final thought from Benny Parsons.
Hey, Hornaday's still in this thing. 3 races to go, he can still win it.
They're headed for the West Coast. Congratulations, Ernie, and welcome back. Thank you to Marty Reed and to Benny Parsons. Always fun to come to the NASCAR Super Truck by Craftsman Series. I'm Dave Despain. So long from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.